All right, Matt the Mortgage Guy here. In today's video, I'm excited to bring to you out-of-state real estate investing. A true story, me and my wife, a property we bought back in 2017. I'm gonna give it to you straight. The pros, the cons, the do's, the don'ts, the red flags, the what I would have done different, stuff that you probably won't hear in a lot of videos, but I hope that by sharing my message and sharing our story, it's gonna help somebody else out there who's thinking about investing in real estate out of state. So before I get into it, if you would please smash the like button, like this out-of-state investment, smash my bank account, I'd appreciate it. Straightforward talk on real estate, mortgage, personal finance, that's what you'll find on this channel. So hope you enjoy the content, hope you consider subscribing. So without further ado, I'm gonna start real quick before I tell you about the specifics of our deal. Just talk about some pros and some cons in general when it comes to out-of-state real estate investing, out-of-state investment properties. The pros are that if you're somebody like me in California, you look at other states, affordable, very affordable. When you look at the Midwest, the Rust Belt, other states where you can buy properties for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, nobody wants to buy in Detroit for $20,000, but that is available. It's just affordable. It's a lot more affordable. I think I saw a stat the other day, the median house price, meaning half are above and half are below in California, $550,000. That's ludicrous. So they're affordable. And so with that affordability comes more cash flow and opportunity for higher ROI, which is return on investment. You invest $20,000, you get $3,000 a year, and that's your 15% return on investment. And then many choices. You've got, you're not limited to just what you can invest in based on where you live. And there's some people that say, live where you want to live, invest where the numbers make sense. I think it's the real estate guys to an extent, right? Like that's something that's attractive for people about out-of-state real estate investing. So some cons, these places are hard to manage because you're not close. If you're investing in a place that's 1,500 miles away, I'd say harder to manage. It might be hard to manage a place that's 50 miles from you. It's gonna be harder if you're not on site, if you can't, at the very least, manage the managers by being able to pick up the phone, drop into somebody's office. And I also put limited knowledge, and I know that in 2020, you can do all kinds of research. You can research the market, the neighborhood, what things rent for, the crime rates and all that stuff, but still, there's something about buying something 1,500 miles from home in neighborhoods in Northern California. I know that if you're local, you have a better knowledge than you get from somebody who's in Arizona just looking it up on the internet, finding out that way. So limited knowledge, and it's harder to create a team. And by team, I mean the property management company, somebody who's gonna do repairs, things like that. A real estate agent who's gonna help you find the deal and help you vet what's a good deal and what's not when it comes to your investment. That team dynamic, you can still create it by phone, by Zoom, over the internet, but it's just not the same, in my opinion. Okay, before I get into some of the red flags in this, I really wanted to go over the numbers. And I wanted to go over the numbers and kind of what drew me in as a math nerd and fooled me. I'll be vulnerable and honest. My wife told me, I don't know. I don't know about this deal. Alabama, why Alabama? She was against it. 3 years later, in retrospect, like is usually the case, she was right. I was wrong. I'll tell you why I was wrong. I'll tell you why I got punch drunk on the numbers. Here's what I saw. I saw a $70,000 purchase price. I saw $750 a month in rent. I saw the lowest property taxes in all of the US. It was something like $350 a year in property taxes. That was attractive. In California, you buy a house for $200,000, which you can't even really find something for $200,000. Our property taxes are about 1.25. So you'd pay $2,500 a year. I don't even know what the rate is, but like $350 a year is pretty much free property taxes. So with considering $350 a year in property taxes, here's some of the analysis that went through my head. Right or wrong, I'm telling you, this is what I was thinking. This is what got me excited. Besides, there's some turnkey companies that kind of paint a rosy picture when there maybe isn't one. Principal, interest, tax, insurance, all in. I could get a $54,000 loan by putting 20% down on the 70K. My whole payment was gonna be about $355. So if you take $750, you minus $80 a month in management fees. When you're a new real estate investor, you're just like, oh, there won't be that much maintenance. There won't be that much vacancy. Those things don't happen that often. So you put a small little number in, like $70 for all that stuff. Not a good idea, but that's what you do. So let's say after you take $80 a month in manage, and $70 a month in vacancy and repairs. Like I said, this is a low ball. This is not enough. Then you've got $600 coming in and $355 mortgage. Like, wow, I'm gonna cash flow $245 a month. I'm only in it $16,000 plus closing costs, so maybe $18,000. So $18,000, $245 a month. Let's do some quick math. That is, I'm trying to get the yearly figure here. I guess it's somewhere in the $2,900 a year in cash flow. Let's call it $3,000. $3,000 a year in cash flow on an $18,000 investment. 17%, 16 to 17% ROI. Math is my thing, so I don't do these numbers beforehand. I just eyeball, drywall, and kind of guesstimate, and that's gonna be pretty close. 16 to 17% return on investment. Then you figure principal pay down. These things in certain places just don't appreciate, but I got excited. I said 16 to 17% ROI. It's affordable. I can get in there for less than 20 grand. What could go wrong? I'm gonna share with you what can go wrong on something like this. The very first year, I get somebody who pays rent for 3 months. $750. Then they stop paying rent. I reach out to a property management company, I ask them, what's going on? We've reached out to them, we've done this, we've done that. Okay, well, after 2 months, he's not paying rent. What's your eviction process like? Oh, we gotta pay this lawyer $1,500 and do this and that. Well, it's better than not getting rent. So this is back in 2018. I believe it was February or March. I haven't had the property that long. We start the eviction process. Oh, he filed bankruptcy. We can't evict him. And like some people do, we're not talking about, out of work because coronavirus. We're talking about a professional that knew what he was doing back in 2018 that kind of gamed the system, filed bankruptcy so we couldn't evict him. I can't remember how long it took. We had to file something with the court, do this, that, more money, no rent coming in. I think I was out in the neighborhood of $2,800 in legal fees and 6 months times $750 in no rent. So what's that? $4,500 in missed rents? You see how 17% can become a negative real quick? We're only cash flowing $2,900 a year. I wiped that out in legal fees. I wiped out 2 more years of cash flow in missed rent. End of 2018, we get a new tenant. That new tenant is great, but after 4 or 5 months, I'm starting to get some complaints about how bad the neighborhood is. 20 to 30 shots out back. I'm gonna share a screenshot I have of text messages between the property management and one of my tenants who moved out in 2019. I'm the type of landlord who always wants to take care of people. And so if somebody doesn't feel safe, if they have a family and whatnot, I'm gonna side on the tenant side always. And he basically said, listen, man, it's not safe here. My family's not safe, I'm out. I'm not gonna hold somebody to a lease if they're not safe. I'm just gonna tell the property management company, forget about it, let them break the lease. But he basically one day left his keys on the counter, said there's 20 to 30 shots out my back window every other night. My family's not safe, I'm out. So that happened. Then I get a new tenant in who the property manager said, listen, it's not a good neighborhood. We've gone over this, but She knows the neighborhood and she's okay with it. And similar situation, she's got 2 kids. I'm a human being. I want this person to be safe. After getting broke in, I tell the property management company, put a security door, do whatever we can to make her feel safe. And inevitably, you know, no matter what we did, we couldn't change how bad that neighborhood was. So that's a quick snapshot of my story. And I don't even have to get into the numbers to tell you this was a total negative. I told you we bought it for $70,000 in 2017. That's the number we sold it for in 2020. So negative cash flow every year. Sold it for just about what we owed on that mortgage after paying it for 3 years. It was a loser. Let's not relive that. So I wrote down some red flags and what I do different, because hopefully I make this videos, I admit mistakes, and I help somebody else out. That's the whole goal of this. Here's one of the biggest red flags in my humble opinion. I contacted a turnkey company that's based in California who has properties all over the US, Alabama being one market, they're probably in 12 or 15 other markets. Even if they had good intentions, they can't know intimately these other markets. They just can't. There's a lot of good turnkey companies, in my opinion, and from people I've talked to, that are based in that market. That's all they do. Memphis, 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 or whatever their home market is. And not only do they live in that market and know that market, but they manage the properties. That was something that should have been a red flag to me and unfortunately wasn't, but they're not local and no vested interest. They handed it off to property management. They handed me off to some nationwide renter's warehouse that just has thousands of rentals. And one guy with one property in Alabama was definitely not anything that they cared too deeply about. Whereas a good turnkey company, and I believe there's good turnkey companies out there where this stuff works, they're selling you a property in a market they know, and they're going to manage it for you. So it's in their best, they have vested interest in putting a good tenant in place that's not gonna be troublesome, that's gonna pay the rent on time. They're collecting a percentage of the net rents, and they're also having to deal with vacancies and re-up it, put somebody new in. So they're not gonna try to create trouble for themselves by putting a crap tenant in there. Versus the turnkey company I worked with handed me off to a property management company and was like, I'm out, I'm done. We made our money. What I do different, and this is something that hopefully will give whoever's watching this, whoever's interested in out-of-state investing. I want to make this clear. This video probably comes across as out-of-state investing is bad, and I know it's not in all cases. I've got plenty of friends that have done it. They've done it correctly. They've invested in markets they know. They've got boots on the ground, realtor, property management, people they know in whatever market that is. They've done it very successfully. So realize that this was a mistake I made, and I want to admit it to help other folks out. So what I would do different, more research, more research, more research. This is me talking to my future self. After I was already in this thing and I had the guy file in bankruptcy and it was a nightmare, I'm calling agents talking about this certain part of Montgomery, Alabama. They were telling me, oh boy, that's not a very good part of Montgomery, Alabama. That neighborhood is rough. I didn't do enough of that research up front, so shame on me. A local team and property management. Now, Renters Warehouse was just a third-party company that the turnkey company handed me off to, and you know, they managed stuff all over the country, and they honestly were getting out of Montgomery, Alabama. They had no interest in Montgomery, Alabama. They didn't know it that well, so they weren't that good of a property management company, which made it even worse. I'm in a bad, market, in a bad neighborhood with a bad property management company, recipe for disaster. And then if I would do it over, and from people I've talked to, I wrote more than one SFR. Like I said, I'm one guy with one property in Alabama. There's no incentive for a property management company to really care about doing everything they can for me. I've got investor friends who pick a market. They pick Memphis, and they are gonna buy between 80 and 120,000, and they buy 2, 4, 6, 8. They get a portfolio assembled that's 15 properties. Now you've got 15 properties with a good property manager. A property manager that has 15 of your properties is gonna take better care of you than if you have one. I think that goes without being said. You know, you've got a bigger portfolio, you're more of a priority for any management company. That's just how business works. And I would underwrite to the worst case, meaning account for vacancy, account for repairs, account for every time I flip this thing, it's gonna cost me money. If I would have known when I got into this thing, silly me is thinking $2,900 a year in cash flow versus an $18,000 investment is a 17% return. If I turn the thing once a year, which in a bad C- neighborhood, you probably should expect to turn it every year or two, it might cost you $15, $16, $2,000. That's like almost all your cash flow. Then you end up breaking even, and all it is taking up time, energy from you, and you're not gaining anything. So thank you so much for watching. I know this got a little long-winded, but I hope it's useful for somebody. If you have any questions at all, matt@mattthemortgageguy.com. Happy to answer specific questions. Again, I don't know specific markets, so I wouldn't be able to answer those very well, but anything real estate mortgage related that I think I can answer, I'm happy to. Only licensed in California, so if you're looking for a loan for an investment property, California folks, feel free to reach out. If you're out of state, I'll connect you with a great broker in your state. Again, thanks for watching. Hope you found value. Until next time.